Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet, Bava, Kamma. We are up to Perek Yud Mishnah Chet. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'ilu Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana, Ranbai, Eliyahu ben Burchai Israelov, Chana bad Miriam, Sason ben Rai, Yoshua ben Shifra, Menuchatam began Eden, Amen, and Avdil ben Chaim lechaim, with the Refuah Shelemav, Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, Betor Shah Chole Israel, and the Chlama Mera Binyamin, Od Zion Chai ben Dvorah. A thief is responsible for the item he stole until he returns it. Therefore, if it is damaged, for example, before he returns it, he must pay the owner, but if it is damaged afterward, the owner suffers the loss. The Mishnah defines when a thief is considered to have returned an animal that he stole from a flock. Hagonev taleh min ha'eder, if someone steals a lamb from a flock of sheep, ve'chaziro umet o nignav, and then he returns it to the flock without telling the owner, and later it died or was stolen, chayav ba'achariyuto, the thief is responsible for it. Lo yadua be'alim, lo b'gnevato, velo b'chazirato. This ruling applies where the owner was not aware of its theft or its return. Since the owner did not know that the animal was stolen, it is not enough for the thief to simply put it back on the flock. Rather, he remains responsible for the sheep until he tells the owner that it was stolen and has been returned. The stolen animal requires extra protection after it is returned, because having once been separated from the flock, it is more likely than the others to wander off on its own. The thief therefore remains responsible for the animal until he tells the owner that it was stolen and returns, so that the owner can guard it properly. Therefore, if the thief did not tell the owner anything, even if the owner counts the sheep and finds that none are missing, the thief must pay for any subsequent damage to the lamb, since the owner was not aware of the theft and did not know that it required extra supervision. Now, this ruling obviously applies only where an animal was stolen. If an inanimate object was stolen and returned without the owner's knowledge, for example, a thief stole money and slipped it back into the owner's wallet, the thief has fulfilled his obligation to return the object and is not responsible for any future mishap, as the Rambam writes in Lechot Geneva, chapter 4, Halacha 11. Umanu et atzonu shlemai. However, if the owner was aware of the theft and after the thief returns it, the owner counts the sheep and finds that the flock is complete, patur, the thief is not obligated for any harm that befalls it later. In this case, where the owner knew that it had been stolen, the thief only has to put the animal back in the flock and does not need to tell the owner anything. As soon as the owner becomes aware of its return by counting his flock and finding that it contains the same number as before the theft, the thief ceases to be responsible. And that is that of Mishnah Chet. Mishnah Tet lists items that one is forbidden to buy from others because they might be stolen. En lokchim min haroim tzemer v'chalav ugdayim. We may not buy wool, milk, or kids, which are young goats or sheep, from shepherds who are hired to care for other people's flock, because shepherds are suspected of stealing these items from the flock of their employers. Velo mishomrei perot etzimu perot, nor may we buy wood or fruit from watchmen who are hired to guard fruit orchards, because they are suspected of stealing these things from the orchard. It is a great sin to buy stolen goods from a thief, because one thereby encourages him to steal more things. If no one would buy from him, he would stop stealing, as the Rambam writes in Lechot Geneva, chapter 5, Halacha 1. אבל לוקחין מן אנשים כלי צמר ביהודה וכלי פשתן בגליל והגלים בשרון. But we may buy the following articles even from married women: woolen garments in Yehuda, linen garments in the Galil, and calves in the Sharon. It was common for the women of Yehuda to make and sell woolen garments, for the women of the Galil to make and sell linen garments, and for women of the Sharon to raise and sell calves. Calves were very cheap in the Sharon, the coastal area of Eretz Israel between Jaffa and Mount Carmel. The women living there would buy their own calves to raise and sell. Since this was the standard practice in those places, it may be assumed that the women have the permission of their husbands, so there is no question of theft. But if any of these women told the buyer to hide what he bought and not reveal it to others, it is prohibited to buy even these items from them, because it is clear that they stole their merchandise and are afraid of being caught. And we may buy eggs and chickens anywhere from any person, because they are common and inexpensive and therefore unlikely to have been stolen. A person would not risk getting caught stealing these items for the small profit they would bring. Even in this case, though, if the seller told the buyer to hide his purchase, buying them is forbidden. And that is the Rabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen v'amen.